Kelsey, the total value of retail sales bounced back to pre-COVID levels, but the composition of the spending has changed. Consumers are spending on things like appliances, not experiences like restaurants. What can you tell us about this shift in demand? How permanent is it?
Yeah, well, I think we tracked kind of through the course of the pandemic, starting in mid-March with one of our consumer insights partners, very closely the consumer, and clearly we saw a rapid change in behavior, um, both in category and in what was driving purchasing decisions. I think that what we see now is that the consumer is spending beyond just essentials. Some of the categories that have seen an uptick lately have been beauty and accessories. Fitness has been a big one, in-home entertainment. But I think that, the consumer, as the virus kind of hit and rolled out state by state, beyond New York, the consumer is more sensitive to doing some of the restaurants, bars, etc.
Yeah, and right now we're in a pretty critical period for retailers as well, because August usually means back to school shopping. We still don't know what school will look like, and it's not clear whether consumers will spend the way they did before, like in the past. How do you see this playing out?
Yeah, I mean, clearly the most important behavioral shift as the pandemic hit was this massive shift to digital, both front of house and back of house. And from a consumer perspective, the consumer shifted immediately online. And I think that we'll see back to school spending. Those trends will continue to pick up online. I think we will also see again a category shift, probably less on apparel for back to school and more on laptops, etc.
Now, retailers that offer a digital channel and that invested in that are seeing those investments pay off big time. For those with a physical presence that still rely on that foot traffic, explain how their real estate needs are changing. Will they need less space? Could they need more space to accommodate more people and more social distancing? How will it change in the future?
Yeah, I think in the immediate term until there's really a vaccine and people are truly out and about and there's a return to normal again, all retailers will be looking at their real estate a bit differently. I think that one of the main things that has come about during the pandemic is obviously the convenience factor and having inventory as close to the customer as possible. So I think one of the critical elements that the store will play in the immediate future is not just for curbside delivery or buy online pickup in store, but also as many fulfillment centers that are closer to the consumer. I also think that the consumer has started to show a higher level of comfort in coming back to the store, particularly with brands and retailers that are being very transparent about their policies, and that's helping. Also, the contactlessness is those contactlessness and the convenience factor, I believe, are here to stay.
Final question to you, Kelsey. Retailers are obviously spending tremendous amounts of money updating their physical stores, making them, again, more spacious to abide by social distancing regulations. This is something we'll get details on from the companies themselves when they host their conference calls. Are these costs something that will be passed on to consumers?
I think the consumer right now is fairly fragile. There's been a huge amount of uncertainty from an economic standpoint and from a health standpoint, obviously. And I think to imply that those costs will be priced in won't necessarily be an immediate one.
What is the single most important insight that you want to hear from these company executives when they do host their earnings conference call? What do you want to know from them?
I think the importance of how nimble they're being with their inventory and digital experiences is really important, and how they are reaching their consumers in their home.
And as the economy recovers, do you expect to hear some of them be able to regain pricing power? Who do you think has pricing power in this kind of environment?
Yeah, I think the usual suspects, which I would call the established old guard, have done an incredible job. Walmart, Target, Amazon. But I think there is also a group here that I would call the innovators in our space, and that is Real, Revolve, Farfetch, and Stitch Fix. And I think those innovators did an incredible job pre-pandemic at establishing loyalty with the customer. I think they've done an incredible job during the pandemic. And I think they will emerge on the other side of this as having retained and earned new loyal customers.
In the meantime, Kelsey, how is the retail industry positioned for the critical holiday shopping season, given what we're going to be seeing during back to school shopping?
Yeah, I think the retailers have all done an incredible job at rapidly changing their business models to be able to meet the customer where the customer wants to be met, whether that is picking it up in their car, curbside, or coming in store, or ordering it online. And I think the quicker you can get inventory to people, the better positioned you are.